driving immersion, the immersive driving experience. If you like our programming, please like, share, subscribe, or follow. In this presentation, we'll be driving the Ligier JS P2, a Le Mans prototype Class 2. Our particular car is a rear-wheel drive driven by a 465 horsepower V8 capable of 193 miles per hour, a 0 to 60 time of 3.2 seconds, and weighs 1,964 pounds. Here we are at the start. This is actually our installation lap, and you can see that it's a rainy start. Monza is an 11-turn clockwise track. And it is a very fast track with 2 chicanes, a couple of 90-degree right-handers, and a couple of sweeping right-handers. It is 3.6 miles long. The fastest lap in 2019 for a LMP2 was 1:36.979. And for the LMP3, 1:40.206. The GTEs are 1:48.016. And if the weather changes, we will be able to possibly get up there, but right now with the rain, we are running on rain tires, of course. So here we are arriving at the first chicane.
I think visibility is going to be poor for a while.
Very slow.
This is definitely rain and fog.
And we will be going down to first gear to go through there in most cases. Here we are at the first Lesmo. Again, a very sharp right turn, which will take us to the second Lesmo, which is also a sharp turn, but it's very aggressively banked. And
so this is one of our HUD displays. It gives us an idea how our tires are doing. It also shows in graphic form the work the suspension is going through, brake temperatures, and 3 tire temperatures. On the lower right, you'll see the speed as well as the horsepower and torque being produced, and the engine revolutions per minute.
Yes, the exit out of the second Lesmo is going to be very important as it leads to a long straight, and that will actually bring us underneath the historical oval, and that will take us through Ascari, which we just went through, and we are now approaching the Parabolica.
This is the basic display, and it gives us basic information where we are as far as timing. You see the map on the lower left of the screen.
And the Parabolica will open up to the main straight where we're going to be reaching over 200 miles an hour. And past the start.
Really going slow here.
Finish line. Here we are. There's the green light.
Not a bad start. Going to bunch up here quite a bit.
Keep closing, mate. You can do this. You'll make it up later.
Try not to hit anything or anyone. There we go. lot of hydroplaning.
As you can see, the visibility is poor, but it's a long race, so we're going to just take it easy and make sure that we can get through here. There's a little bump from the other car. Second bump. Didn't seem too major, so hopefully there's no damage. And we can see here that other cars are slipping off the track. Coming to Ascari for the first time. Again, it is very slippery, so we're probably driving at about 7 or 8 tenths.
I knew he was going to cut in.
Our first turn through Parabolica, and it's manageable. And the rain and fog is just very thick.
Gonna close the inside. I think somebody was off there. Off into the grass.
So we're in for a 72 lap race, and that's lap 2 of that 72.
Another car, 2 cars. That was a bump. And you can get bumped by anybody, including the LMP3s and the GTEs. Okay, right now we are in second place with all the other cars falling off. Oh, too hot. Got a long race. Let's just stay on track here.
Right now we're actually doing pretty well compared to the other cars in the rain. So we just got to make sure that we keep from spinning around and falling off the track. We don't expect rain throughout the whole race, so again, while we're doing well here, the competition will get much tougher later on when the rain stops.
Cars are off. And just like that, we inherit the lead. Gonna try to run away a little bit. And then go back to 8 tenths.
So as we started as 11th place amongst the LMP2s, we are now in the lead, as you've seen. And it's just a matter of keeping the car on the track. You can see there the banking of the second Lesmo is actually very aggressive. Here's that long straight that will go under the old track.
Okay, we're going to cut our fuel down to lean. Because we won't be going that fast. Our goal now is to make these race tires last.
So we started to manage our fuel, which is going to be critical for the race. I believe it adds about 13 or 14 seconds extra just to fill up the car. And as long as we can keep the car in one piece, we won't be incurring a lot of time in the pits with repairs and so on. So we can save time by managing the fuel.
So under these conditions, you can see that we are braking as much as 50 yards or 50 meters extra. And you're going to have to brake gradually at that.
So you'll start to see that there are puddles forming inside of the two right-hand Lesmos there, and then there's actually a puddle here underneath the old track that will become more critical as the rain continues.
Still very carefully through there. We are through the Parabolica. There is a little bit of slip coming in as it's pretty bumpy. The exit's kind of bumpy here too.
Great job. That's your fastest final second time so far.
Brake gradually at the 200 meter mark.
Another car off track. Probably didn't see me, and he came across to the left. So we had to slow down. But we're still maintaining a lead, and we're going to be stretching it here. Good view there of the orange curbs, formerly known as the sausages, but now they're being referred to as turtles, orange turtles.
Lap 5 now of 72. There is a puddle building up underneath the bridge. A lot of understeer through there. So we got a damaged car. Obviously he's going in for a fix.
Yes, and we do have damage turned on to full. So you'll see a lot of cars get damaged, and you'll see them coming into the pits as well to have that damage fixed. So the race will be more realistic. And I've learned that if you have damage on full, that the other cars are going to be a lot more careful about bumping into you. However, it does not eliminate it completely, so there'll be some of that going through the race. Some very nice third-party views of the car we're driving. And as you can see, the rain has not slowed a bit. The track is still very wet.
Still raining pretty good, so we are probably driving at about 80%. Off. I guess it's very common to do so there at that chicane.
Yes, right now we are still very strong in the lead. I believe the other LMP2s that had fallen off track and gotten into accidents have been going through the pits to make their necessary repairs, and that's why we're driving alone here and we're driving away. Lap 8. Somebody's parts there. Another off. The BMW that you saw that was in our picture earlier is actually the one that is closest to us now on the track, and he is actually leading the GTE class. So all of the LMP2s and LMP3s are behind him.
Okay, there's a puddle forming inside the first Lesmo, also in the second Lesmo.
Here's a view of the standings and a quick look at some of the other cars going through. I believe this car is the lead LMP3. Here we are back with the 66. Coming around another LMP3. This is a Janetta.
Coming up on a map marker. Keep it clean. You should find right by.
This is the LMP2 that's losing all the body parts. It's nice to see that he's gotten it fixed. A lot of water there through the, I believe that's called the Curve Grande.
Quick look at the LMP2 66. Very slow and carefully through Ascari. Again, we have a very strong lead, so there's no need to take risks. And we do have full damage turned on, so repairs are costly.
Great final sector. That's your best so far.
The LMP2 behind us falls off the track again. Whoa. Pretty strong impact there. And normally here we would be kissing the apexes, but again there are puddles there, so we want to avoid those. They will actually throw the car off, and as they are very sharp turns, you'll expect yourself to be in the grass or into the wall if you drive through the puddles. There's the puddle underneath the bridge, and the bridge is actually part of the historic oval track that is part of Monza. That is no longer used, but again there is a puddle forming underneath there. Lap 10 now of 72. It does appear as if the sky is lightening. It's still raining pretty much at the same level, but the sky is lightening, so we can expect that.
We are into lap 11. We got about 9 laps left on this load of fuel. And the reason why we're stretching it is to see if the weather's going to change. It looks like it's getting a little bit lighter. A lot of water on the track though. But if it goes in that direction where the track may look like it's going to dry, then we need to stretch these tires. To meet the conditions. However, it's all determined by fuel here.
Yes, we do expect the rain to end before the end of the race, so we expect to be drying or racing on drying track pretty soon. But the added complexity is when are we going to change into dry tires, and how is that going to mix in with coming in for refueling, which is our limiting factor right now. There is a fuel level visible to us on the screen, on the lower right hand of your screen. And that tells us how many liters of fuel that we have left. And we will compare that information with the information that we have on the steering wheel that tells us how much fuel we used on the last lap and what our current average is.
There are 2 or 3 cars off the road, losing large body panels. Oh boy, there's a lot of hydroplaning here.
Another group of cars falling off the track there at the first chicane.
More body parts. Gotta make sure he doesn't come up. And accidentally ram us.
So as you saw, we went through the puddle again, and we will start to feel that the right side of the track is a little bit deeper. And as the race goes on, we will start to use the left side of the track when going through the puddle. Definitely a lightning sky, and you can see the fog has lifted quite a bit already.
He's off too. You can see all the mud they're bringing on the track.
I'll usually leave the wipers on high while we're driving through, as long as there's water on the track. At some point your eyes get used to them moving back and forth at that speed, and they become less noticeable. A lot of traffic there.
The LMP2s are not doing well.
Yeah, there's been a lot of offs for a lot of the LMP2s, and that's giving us quite a lead here. Again, the cars nearest to us on the track are the GTEs and some of the LMP3s. I think the GTEs are actually doing very well with these conditions, as they are not so downforce dependent.
Seems to have stopped raining on this side of the track.
And because the GTEs are not so downforce dependent, they can actually do better on the track when there is no grip available from extra downforce, and while we're all driving slow, they don't have to worry too much about the downforce created by the wings, or the lack of. Here's a look at the Corvette.
Oh, multiple cars out there.
So we're coming up to a lot of traffic right now. And the Corvette that you saw is actually, I believe, just ahead of us there. And hopefully we'll be catching him in just a few. The puddle underneath the old track there is actually becoming a concern, and we are finding that we have to lift when we're driving through it.
Can't see.
Yeah, visibility is still bad, and when you're coming up to the Parabolica here, where you have
to see where those cars were.
Brake hard. You have to use your reference points to know when to brake.
Absolutely cannot see. Yep, going too fast, fellas. There's a dry line forming.
Yes, the two prototypes actually fell off, but again, we're not racing with them. They are probably at least a lap behind now, as they are going through and fixing damage in the pits. And yes, there is a dry line forming on the track. I think Project Cars 2 is actually very good at depicting that.
Okay, gotta adjust our strategy here. We need a full refuel.
So now it's lap 16. I believe our strategy was to come in at about lap 18. And that is the longest that we plan on going before we run out of fuel. Riding here with the Corvette, again it is just ahead of us. No, this is not the Corvette, this is the Aston Martin. There we are, again adjusting the pit strategy. We want to make sure that we fill up with fuel this time.
Okay, I don't think we're ready for slicks. Not even within the next 2 laps.
And yes, there is still too much water on the track, even though there is a dry line forming. Now this is the Corvette.
Wet tires, we're getting full fuel and full repair.
There he is.
Always gotta check that.
Very good view of the pass. the first chicane inside the Corvette now. And as you saw from his car, there is a big puddle forming inside Curva Grande. I'm starting to see shadows here, so
okay, we're not going to replace the tires after all.
Yes, the tires are actually still in very good shape, and we will just be wasting time just replacing them when we're going to end up having to put wet tires back on. So we're going to adjust the pit strategy here and do no tires when we come in.
It'll certainly save us time. And right now we have 3.6, so we can do one more lap.
And at this point, our strategy is still working out for us. There's an LMP2 being racy. Maybe he wants to unlap himself.
I believe he's just trying to unlap himself. Oh, that's damage.
Oh, there's a bump, and he loses his front clip. Now the question is, do we have damage? And if we do, we're going to have to go to our pit strategy and change that to have it fixed.
We've got to upshift or shift up early. We are running on fumes.
Yeah, so our strategy was to start off light with less fuel, and that way it'll help us to run away from the crowd if we can get through, and it seems to be working. The other plan would be to load the car up with a lot of fuel. For example, if you're starting from the back of the pack, so that you can go
we should
longer
be able to make it
without stopping for fuel.
Yep. Fuel light is blinking. 9/10.
So there's a blinking
Definitely
fuel
running
light.
it down to fumes.
And that's just an indicator or a precursor of how the race is going to go.
0.6 liters of fuel. 5.
Less than a liter of fuel, and we're in for our pit.
No tires, just fuel and repair. Those are studs.
Yes, as you can see there, the mechanics are holding studs. It used to happen in Project Cars 1, and it happens less in Project Cars 2. But our strategy does not require tires, so they will not be putting them on.
Okay, you're clear. Go, go, go.
So that was 33 seconds. Pretty good stop.
Yes, that was a very short stop because we didn't need a lot of work. I found that suspension work takes a very long time.
We are still in the lead.
Fortunately, we didn't need any of that. And as we come out, you can see shadows from the sun. There is still water splashing, so the track is still wet. And these wet tires are still going to be doing us good. So the inside of the curve there is still very wet. There's a lot of water staying on. Little bump there from the Aston Martin. And as you saw there, we moved a little bit to our left when we arrived at the braking zone. The puddle underneath the old track there is actually allowing a lot of the cars to bring the water further into the braking zone. So it's very slippery on the right, and there's actually more grip on the left where there's less water. There's also less cars going through there, and that's why there's less water. Fell off there at the Parabolica. Thankfully, there's a lot of runoff. Driving through a lot of traffic now, and
close the door at the same time. So I thought I'd let them have it.
we just got to be careful. We're still faster than most of the cars. And you can see there's a difference between the inside and the outside of the track. Where we were, the outside there was no water being sprayed, but on the inside there was from the cars that were driving through there. So there are parts of the track that are still very wet. And you can see there that there is a dry line forming.
So we've got a good dry line around the track. But these wets are still not overheating, so I'm going to keep going with them.
Here we are moving to the left again, left of the track, as there's more grip.
Still very slippery at the Parabolica.
Yes, the Parabolica is still very damp, especially on the inside, and you're just carrying a lot of speed to come through there and braking very hard, so you want to just take it easy going through.
Yep, still very slippery. She wants to rotate on the exit.
So as you can see there, that the shape of the Parabolica actually changed as a result of the rain, as parts of the track are still wet. Obviously you're not going to be using the same apexes, turn-ins, and brake points. and those are all adjusted on the fly as the track changes. And the live track in Project Cars 2 is actually a very good simulation, I guess, if that's what you want to call it. There's the puddle forming inside of the Lesmo. Very nice external views of the car. Driving through the puddle, coming into the brake zone for Ascari.
Okay, more and more.
And the exit, that was very conservative. We didn't use too much of the
Good, though.
curbs.
Okay, they're starting to lose grip. So we're going to start watching the lap times now. If we start falling behind for consecutive laps, we will consider coming in and changing the tires. I was hoping to wait until we were down to about half of a tank, or 45 liters. Actually, it's less than that, so we got a long way to go.
Yes, again, we came in for a full load of fuel, so we want to stretch that full load of fuel as long as we can, and these tires, so we can limit the number of times we come in. And obviously right now we're not even halfway through the fuel that we just put in, but we would like to time that for our tire change. I guess halfway point is probably the most efficient part, meaning we'll be using up less time coming in.
Still a lot of water in there.
For tire changes and fuel maintenance. A lot less splashing, and we still have our wet tires on. But again, we're not feeling any depreciation in the drivability here, so we're going to keep on going. I don't think they're even at 70% at this point, so they're still doing well. And again, we have a good sized lead. There are some wet parts here, and we're going to be driving through them to keep the tires cool, as they will become very hot from the drying track.
No need to throw away the lead. Just to pass one car. It's probably very far behind. Other cars are still losing parts. That looked like a LMP3 rear wing. And it may be this car coming up. Yep. Looks like the first Lesmo's dry. Little water still in there in the second one. Tires are still doing good. They are hot.
Car does get dirty in the rain. There's an LMP2 with the rear wing missing, and I'm sure they'll be coming in to have that fixed.
You're bound to lap some back markers. You really want to get past here with minimal fun.
Although once in a while you'll see some continue to lap as it will save them time from coming in to fix something based on their pit strategy. Still water there at the Curva Grande. The yellow car was actually an LMP3 that we're not racing.
Looks dry, but there's a lot of understeer.
So here we are. It looks like we've got the race in hand and doing very well. Keeping to maintain the car. There's still at least a half of a race left at this point. We've come in through the pits for our first refueling, and fortunately we were able to keep the tires on and save time from having to change them. And there will be another pit stop. I believe that's going to be around lap 45. Again, for another full load of fuel. The most that you can put in is 27 laps or 75 liters. And if you've managed your car and the race correctly, you'll be running out of fuel just as the race has just ended. So that is what our pit stops are based on. Now things can change at any time. For example, if we fall off the track or crash with another car and incur some damage, obviously we have to come in and fix it. We do have quite a lead now, so we may have the time available to do that. But only once. I think you'll find that if you're coming in for a couple of extra pit stops for repairs, that you will fall back most assuredly. Still a puddle there underneath the track, and we're still using the inside of the entry to Ascari as it is drier and has more grip. And these rain tires are continuing on.
Got a little off there. I think I got the left tires in the grass on the brake zone.
Yeah, some of the brake zones are still wet. There may not be puddles forming, but they're still wet. So you'll still need to approach them with caution. Looks like it's turning out to be a nice sunny afternoon here in Italy. Still a little bit of haze from the rain.
Okay, we are in survival mode with these tires. We're trying to get them down another. Alright, just going to brake earlier for the Parabolica. The rest of the lap is fine.
So we've just driven through the first chicane, coming up to the first Lesmo. And our tires are still doing well. Again, we're still doing pretty well. We've got a sizable lead, as you can see here, but a couple of missteps and a lengthy repair will bring the other cars back pretty fast and pretty easy. Water splashing as we exit the Parabolica. Driving on the inside here along the straight to run the tires through the water and keep them cool. At this point, they're still not behaving too differently, considering that the track is pretty much dried right now. There is the puddle that had formed inside of Curve Grande. There we are, getting around with the Ginettas. Again, thank you for visiting us here at Driving Immersion. If you like our programming, please don't hesitate to give us a thumbs up or a like. And you can find us on YouTube or Facebook and Twitch as well, so don't forget to follow or subscribe. And we'd also like to think what you think of our programming, so feel free to comment. So after I made
on the brakes there.
So after we passed the Ginetta, he was able to come back in the braking zone, and we did get a little bit of a tap, but again, wasn't enough that we should be too concerned. If we do incur damage, it wasn't that much, although we have to monitor those as they will build up. There's still a lot of cars struggling to get through the first chicane. Now, as you saw there, we started our braking before we arrived at the bridge, or the walkway, but under full dry conditions, it would have definitely been after the walkway.
Okay, so we are still actually setting fast times. So these wet tires have gone 31 laps. Fastest lap by 1.2 seconds.
Another off there, and you just got to be careful. Thankfully, we got around him before he got back on the track. And yes, as the track is drying and we are using more and more fuel to eventually lighten the car, we will be going faster and faster. There will be a limit at some point as these rain tires will have degraded, and they will actually produce less grip on the dry as they would have produced on the wet. So we will be changing out of these pretty soon. Again, I believe the most efficient time for us to come is probably lap 45. If they can last that long. Our other recourse is to come in and change them now, get a full load of fuel on a new set of dry tires, and then just come in for a splash and go as the race comes to a close. But again, these tires are just hanging on very well, and we can't really complain too much about how they're performing right now. So there's the first chicane. Very slow first gear. Being careful now, it doesn't pay to arrive at the car ahead of us when we are not able to pass him.
Still doing good.
Yes, those tires are still doing very well. And when we have the opportunity, we'll drive through the wet. I just got a bump there from behind us. Yes, there's another LMP2 Ligier that we just got a bump from. We didn't see him coming up from behind us, so he must have...
Certainly can ruin a race if they knock off your rear wing.
He must have come in from the pits when we went by.
Well, as this is endurance racing, we're going to see how much longer we can keep these wet tires on. We've got 33 liters of fuel. probably have to come in for a splash and go after our next fill up. Well, let's calculate here.
Yes, so now we're calculating the fuel to match our pit stop.
So, maximum 27 laps. So 55 laps. Now hold on.
Doing some real hard calculation here. If the race is 72 laps long, and the most that we can put in is 27 laps, so 45 laps would be the time to come in and fill up with fuel.
If we can make it to lap 45, we don't have to fill up again.
Yes, lap 45 is our target at this point. And if everything works out, all we have to do is put on a set of dry tires and we can finish the race.
So 31 divided by 3 is 10. Yeah.
So looking at the fuel use on the steering wheel.
So let's put this thing on lean.
If we can just make sure that we get another 10 laps out of the fuel that we have left.
I'm pretty sure these tires will make it another 10 laps.
We'll make it to lap 45, so we put the car on lean just to be able to be sure that we will get the 10 laps out of this tank. And again, that will just maximize our time in the pits. Now we do have an LMP2 following behind us. He is not on the same lap, but he will be very eager to get around us as soon as we start slowing down. We are running on lean. So it wouldn't take much for him to get around.
I believe he is down at least 1 lap. I don't need to race him, so if he wants to go, I can let him go.
Yes, you may not think so, but the car behind us is actually a concern for us at this point. We want to avoid any damages or extra pit stops, so his proximity to us is actually causing a danger, so we're going to let him go. Still using the inside for braking into Ascari. There are still cars pulling water from the puddle underneath the bridge or the old oval. now we can see that even though it's a little bit overcast, that the sun is nearing the horizon and the shadows are getting very long. And it's very obvious with the engine note that we are running on lean fuel mixture. Again, we're trying to make it to lap 45 with the rest of the fuel that we have.
I do have my lights on. It's just that there's still more light out there than there is coming out of my headlights for reflectivity. But it's certainly a lot more difficult to track, just like a black background, blank. So you kind of have to look and depend on the surroundings.
Yes, there's kind of a phenomenon or a glitch, whatever you want to call it, but it's not so visible here. But as we approach going through the Parabolica, the shadows and the lighting, because the sun is falling below the horizon, and the amount of light that is being produced by our headlights, the reflectivity, because there's water still on there, is very limited, and it actually looks like the track is very dark or black, so it's kind of hard to tell exactly where it is. So you kind of have to look for the white lines, or use your peripheral vision to help you decide where you are on the track. And hopefully we can get an in-car view here this time through.
Not really racing him, so it was smarter to just let him go.
Coming up to one of the BMWs that was in the lead earlier in the race. There we are. We get a view of the track. It's very dark, and it's hard to tell exactly when the turn point is until you see the red, white, and green curbing on the right-hand side. If you can't see that, you have to look a little bit higher than the track, again at the grandstands, perhaps some of the light poles to help you decide where you are on the track. It's hard to use the trees because the angle at which you're looking at the trees is always changing, and it's more difficult now that it's getting darker. It's hard to distinguish which tree is which. Even looking at the track at this point, it's very hard to use them as reference points. And we will be suffering this way until it becomes dark enough that the lights that are produced by the lights in the car will actually have enough lights, and our eyes have adjusted to the amount of lights being reflected. There we are. The BMW had just turned on their lights. It is a GTE, so they will have the yellow lights as headlights. And that was actually a regulation amongst the Le Mans race series for the GTEs. up until I think it was 2018 where they were able to, or allowed to, run with white lights. And it's just one of the ways that the track was able to distinguish them from the other cars. But now they have lighted number plates and lighted dots on the side of the car to let you know who's first, second, or third, and so on. And by 2016, the Ford GTs had lights within the buttresses, so you could see a different colored light glowing on the back of the car. You can see the water still splashing through there. Here we are, another very fast LMP2. We're going to let him go. Oh! A little bit of an impact there. We're going to have to check for damage.
Gonna check for damage here in just a second.
Have no clue why he slowed down that much.
No damage to the body. No damage to the suspension.
Between the two turns, but we were lucky nothing happened.
Wow, I can't see.
Now that's what happens when it starts to see the braking zone or the braking point. But we also stayed on the right side of the track,
Absolutely
our left from our
cannot
view,
see.
which is still very wet from the cars going through the puddle. There's another example of how dark the track looks. You can see now that our headlights are shining off a little bit, and that will improve as the night falls.
Actually not doing too bad. I just need that sun to go down so that our lights can light up the track here.
Again, at this point, we are waiting for lap 45 to come in to change into a set of dry tires and fill up with fuel for our last stop. But now we are trying to work with the diminishing light. We are still staying away from the apex here of the Lesmos, as there are still water puddles through there. Under the bridge, you can see there that there's an area that's drying. We're coming back to the inside of the entrance here into Ascari because the outside is still too wet for hard braking. So we have another LMP2 that's coming up behind us, and he is very fast. However, our intent here is still to save the car, again, until we come in for a pit stop at lap 45. So if he gets any closer, we'll just let him go by. The black and yellow car there is an LMP3, and we are not racing with him. A little bit darker now, and you can see that the headlights are functioning better to light the track and help improve our vision ahead. Again, if we can make it to lap 45 and just get fuel and tires without doing a lot of repairs, we will be able to maximize or limit the amount of time we are wasting through the pits. And that will help us to maintain and perhaps keep this lead. Very slow in first gear through the chicane. Again, coming up through Curva Grande, there's water on the inside to the right. Braking before the bridge to get into the first chicane. Very quick right here through the first Lesmo. Looks like there's less water or no water on the inside now. Second Lesmo, again, very important as it opens up to this long straight. There are the yellow lights of the GTEs, and again, that's the Corvette ahead of us.
One more.
So one more lap before lap 45, and looks like we're going to be able to make the pit strategy work. Again, there are dark figures that you'll see there appearing on the track. Don't know what they are from. Most often they are not there, or they will just eventually disappear. They almost appear to be shadows of other cars as they had gone around the track. Unfortunately, they're not mobile, but fortunately, they're not mobile, and we know where they are, where we can expect them. Even though they do once in a while hide a little bit of the track, for example, your braking zone. But right now, not too much of a problem. Here we are. We should be coming in to get a full load of fuel and a set of dry tires. If we can avoid the inside of Parabolica, which appeared to be still wet, we can finish the race on this set of dry tires. Nobody coming in yet.
Should be other cars coming in right around this time.
And I think because there's a minimum of 2 fuel stops because of the length of the race, it's very difficult to predict what a lot of the other competitors are doing as far as when they're coming in to fill up with fuel, or if they're saving fuel, and so on. But obviously I made 45 laps with a set of wet tires on a drying track, and these softs that or these dry tires that they're putting on should do better.
Okay, I can't see which tires they're putting on. Hope those are slicks. Okay, should be a little bit of engine repair, maybe adding oil.
Yes, there is a little bit of repair here. I don't know if it's for the little bits of
And then this should
wing
be our last stop.
or body parts that had gotten bumped.
So there's somebody up there that just beat me out of the pits.
Could also be wear and
right
tear on
now-
the engine. And wear and tear on the engine happens at an escalated rate when you're continuously running the car on a high fuel mixture.
Somebody just bumped me.
Yes, another bump from the back. And that is an LMP2 that we would normally be racing
Okay.
with.
At least no damage.
At this point, I should still be at least a half or a whole lap ahead of the nearest LMP2. So I'm not too concerned about him, and I may just let him go just to avoid any more bumping from the aggressive driving of the AI.
That's an LMP2 just unlapping himself.
So again, thanks for stopping by to have a look at our presentation. If you like our programming, give us a thumbs up or a like, and you can follow us on Facebook or subscribe to us on YouTube, and please share the video if you like it. We appreciate anything that
I guess we can turn up the
could
wick.
help our channel. So there's still a little bit of water here through Ascari. I'm sorry, not Ascari, Parabolica, and it gave a little bit of a slide to our rear end as we were coming through. And because Monza is a very fast track, we actually have very little wing on the car, meaning that we don't depend very much on downforce here. So a little bit of a slippery track is going to make a big difference in getting around, especially through Parabolica, which is a very fast area. Definitely doing some night driving now. And the race is set for early summer, so we don't expect the temperatures to fall too much as the sun goes down. So we did not do a strategy for lowering temperatures and lowering tire pressures to accompany that temperature change. Normally we would if we would expect that the track would get very much cooler, but it won't.
Okay, there's still some water at Parabolica, but it's not affecting the grip too bad.
Just set your own personal best fastest lap. Keep it up.
Take that back, it's still slippery.
Passing one of the LMP3s here. Unsuccessfully. Oh, there's another bump.
I just knocked off his wing.
So we just knocked off his wing. And we will have to make sure that we didn't incur a lot of damage.
Got in the water. Okay, okay. Save it. Get on the track. Alright.
So we were driving in the inside of Curva Grande, where I had been pointing out there's still water there. And we were doing that to avoid the LMP3. And you can see there that there was enough water that it threw us off, and we did fall off the track. Fortunately, we didn't collide with anything, so we were able to get right back on. And it didn't cost us too much time. So we're still doing fine. And here we're checking the damage to see if there's any that occurred as
Just 1% on the front wing. Front spoiler.
So we have 1% damage somewhere in the front of the car, probably the spoiler. 1% is not going to affect our downforce too much, so we're good with that. So we just passed the LMP3 that caused us to fall off the track back there. And if you see that if you can just wait, you'll have the opportunity to get by slower cars and not put yourself at risk. Again, driving around the outside of Curva Grande.
little bit slow.
Yes, night has fallen, and we had made our last pit stop and put on the appropriate tires for the condition of the track. So we're just going to settle in and look at finishing the race. Lap 51 now of 72.
Definitely better to be cautious.
Carefully through there, avoiding any risks with the BMW. We are faster than him, so we will be able to get around. There we go. And as you can see, the track has dried, so we are able to go through Ascari with as much speed as this car can bear.
There's still water here.
Getting around the Ferrari. Going to the first chicane. Looks like we have enough space so that we can be comfortable. And he stays behind. You can still see puddles inside of the curve. And again, we'll definitely be avoiding those. It doesn't look like they're going to be going away anytime soon. So there we are. There are two LMP2s right behind us. They're quite a ways back, but they're on the same lap. There's also a GTE and then another LMP2. So the first 5 are 4 LMP2s and a very fast and fortunate GTE. Now we're driving the car probably at about 9/10. There's still no hurry, as we do have a comfortable lead in front of second place. And again, we don't want to put the race and the car in any danger of incurring any damage that will have to be repaired.
We've got traffic coming up.
Yes, judging by our progress, we do expect that we'll be driving through all of the cars that were ahead of us there, that were visible on the long straight. And again, it's best at one at a time and very safely. See there, there's still water splashing coming out of Curve Grande. Braking a little bit later now under the bridge to come into the first chicane. Giving a lot of space. Looks like the water has cleared through the Lesmos. Safely make it around the Ford. Down the main straight for another lap. A little too fast there. You can see that there was a little bit of loss of grip. Lap 56 now, and here are the standings. You can see that we still have quite a sizable lead. Again, more traffic.
Looks like a damaged Corvette, no rear wing.
Falling off again into the entrance to the Parabolica. We are trying to brake as late as we can. Sometimes we get it right, sometimes we get it wrong. And that time we obviously did it wrong, as we had fallen off, and that brought another prototype next to us, and there was a little bit of a bump, but again, not enough that it would cause any damage that we would be concerned about. So the Ginetta is very racy through there, and you can see that he was trying to respond to us coming around. There is an LMP2 car that had just passed him, and again, we are not racing with him. He is probably a lap down, but at this point of the race, he is going faster than we are. So we may just have to let him go to stay safe.
Fast.
There's just a little bit of light left in the sky before complete nightfall. And we have just 12 laps to go.
That is an LMP2 behind us.
Okay, lap 59 of 72. There is another LMP2 very close behind us, and he'll be eager to get around. At this point, he should still be a lap behind.
Gonna let him go. He's probably got plenty of fuel.
So he was very fast in the straight. But as you can see there, we caught right back up to him, and getting around him, we got another bump. So hopefully we're not going to incur any more damage. Lap 60 now. Coming up around the Ford.
Somebody on the inside. The Ford.
He's still pretty racy coming in. And you got a view there of how bumpy the exit is.
So I've got a couple of LMP2s chasing me down, but I believe I've got them lapped. Yeah, the nearest LMP2 is 2 minutes and 50 seconds away, so I could basically just let these guys go. Let them go. There's traffic ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull over to the right here.
They are racing.
Yeah, let them go. They are still having the race. No, I've let them go, but this LMP2 here is still lagging behind. If I stay behind him, he's going to cost us more time. So I'm just going to see just a few more seconds here, a couple more turns to see if he's able to get away, or if I'm just going to have to pass him again and
Okay, mate, you're coming up on some back markers now, and some of them might be twitchy. Keep it clean, get by without
prevent us from losing more time to him. So 10 more laps to go now.
9 laps to go.
So with 9 laps to go, the race is looking pretty good for us. We seem to have managed the pit stops, the fuel, the wear and tear, and the damage very successfully.
Gotta get around this guy. He's out there to make a mess. That was not so good.
We almost outbraked ourselves there coming into the Parabolica. And we had more weight in the front wheels, so the rear wheels started to come out a little bit. But there's a lot of traffic around us.
There's an LMP3 without a rear wing. He may just be trying to finish the race.
And the more traffic around us means higher likelihood of danger and collision. So we must continue to push away from these slower lap cars. There is an LMP2 riding right behind us, keeping up with us. That's the one that we were trying to clear. So we're not going to wait for him to pass us and clear us. We're just going to maintain our speed and make sure that we stay ahead and away. You can see there's still a little bit of water on the inside of the Curva Grande. We slide off a little bit. Perhaps coming in a little too hot into the first Lesmo there.
Tires are good. Suspension's good. Very little damage and wear.
We have 1% on the front splitter, but that's certainly manageable with only a few laps left.
Okay, next time around we have 6 laps to go. Oh, spoke too soon.
Another mistake there, and we drift off a little bit. Again, It's still a little tricky coming in here into the Parabolica. The inside is still damp. As much as you want to come in close to the apex, that's where all the water is, as it is banked a little bit, and puddling occurs on the inside, or the right side of the turn.
19 liters. Have we been burning too much fuel?
Okay, now I'm looking at my fuel with the number of laps I've got left, and 19 liters means 6 laps, and that is just on the cusp of what we need to finish the race. So now our fuel becomes critical. Now before this moment I was running a little bit slower and more conservative to make sure the car finishes. But now I'm thinking that if in the case I don't have enough fuel, I have to adjust a pit strategy to come in and get a splash.
So we're going to put a strategy together that will just get us fuel.
And this is being done while I'm driving, so it's very distracting. There's only...
If that's the case,
the thumbstick on the steering wheel that you can use to flip through the menus and make the adjustment. So there I have chosen the tire compound, which is not what I intended to do. I needed to go in and make sure that we're not going to change the tires. There we are. And here I have actually a lot of laps for refueling. It should have been a full tank, but I need to reduce that. And I continuously have to keep pressing buttons to reduce that. I'm trying to reduce it, I believe, 6 laps, which is a little bit more than what we need. But if I can come in now, we can burn a lot of rich fuel between now and the end. But I'm going to give it a couple of more laps and see how much closer we are. We are running less than 3 liters of fuel per lap. So if I can keep it on lean, I may be able to stretch it to finish this race. But I do have that contingency that if I look like I need to speed up and burn more fuel, I can come in and get a splash of fuel. Now that we're running on lean, we're going to start seeing cars coming up, and perhaps we may have to just wave them by or let them through. We do have a pretty good lead that we can afford to lose some time on, with only 5 laps to go now. And you can see there's an LMP2 here that is very eager to get around and perhaps unlap himself. There we go. I believe last time he came around he lost his front clip. I think that's the same car. So this time I safely just let him go, and he will just disappear into the darkness.
I think we'll make it. If we can get 12 there.
So what I'm thinking is if I can make it to the end of this lap with 12 liters of fuel, I should have enough to finish the race, or at least cross the checkered flag.
we cross the start finish, we should be able to make it.
But right now I'm running on lean. I am short shifting as much as I can. Obviously I'm going slower and losing time. You can see there my lap time is already 140, 142. And I should be in 145 by the time I cross.
Yep.
But mathematically now, it looks like we'll make it.
So we'll be running on fumes. I don't know if we'll make it around for the cooldown.
Very short shifting there. It does save fuel. I suppose I could probably kind of coast into the turns, but there's really no way of knowing how much fuel that's going to save us, and it feels more like we're wasting time if we coast into the turns. So right now we're just going to have to stick with the short shifting. Looking at the timing here, see how far the other cars are behind. Make sure that I have enough time that I don't lose the lead that I have within the next 2.5 laps that I've got to go. And running out of fuel in Project Cars 2 is no fun. Your car will just stop. There's no limp mode into the pits to get more fuel.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
So we are on lap 70. We need 70, 71, and 72. So we just need 9 liters of fuel. We're fortunate that we're not actually having to race anyone, because that's saving us from burning more fuel than we have. And at this point I had already discarded the idea of coming in for a splash and go.
So we are actually improving our economy here. It was 2.61 liters per lap. Now it's 2.56.
So we are saving fuel with the short shifting.
Oh.
Now we are going slower, and at that point I tried to
Watching our fuel there.
conserve my speed by not braking hard enough, and obviously it didn't work out. Now there is a car behind us running with no lights on, probably due to some damage, and he's just trying to finish the race without having to come in and have it fixed. But I think if we were in a sanctioned race, he would be flagged to come in and fix those lights.
Mathematically.
Now you can see that he's made up a lot of time. Oh, and I get hit from the back. That wing that you see flying there, that's my rear wing. So right away, I'm trying to conserve the car. I'm avoiding accelerating too hard.
We lost our wing, I'm pretty sure.
Here's
of
a
it.
replay.
We didn't even know there was somebody behind us.
There he is right behind us. Again with no lights on. Now I'm going pretty slow coming into here again, trying to save fuel. And I don't know if he falls off the track trying to avoid us, but his left wheels are actually in the grass as we're braking, so now he's got a lesser braking ability, and that's probably what caused him to slide into us. And you can see there that after hitting us and the wing breaking off, we actually collide with the barrier. But right now our front suspension seems to be intact and the car is tracking straight. With 1.5 laps to go, there's not enough time to come in and have this wing fixed. So we're going to try to make it to the end with damage in the rear. There is no rear wing, so that back end is going to want to come around very easily. And here we are at the Parabolica, where it's probably the most important, so we take it very slow, and you can see how fast the other car has just gone around us. Here you can see that Project Cars 2 has
Okay, we've got fuel.
replaced our wing,
We're just going to make sure that we get around.
but only visually. The car is still very different to drive, with less downforce in the rear, and when we brake, as we do here, into the first chicane, we have to do it very gingerly. The rear end will most likely come around, and if you've just gone too far, it'll just come around and there's no way to save it. So we're trying to save time by just slowing down and driving the car within its limits. Again, there is damage here where the rear wing has no downforce effect. It's just that graphically Project Cars 2 had replaced the wing that had been knocked off in the previous lap. So the GTE had made its way around us actually pretty easily, and it's walking away now. And that is how much slower we are going around. But keep in mind, we have 1.5 laps to go. So we are effectively in limp mode. There's another car back there with no lights.
Last lap. Just going to crawl around these
Oh, I'm sorry, this is the last lap, lap 72.
turns here. I'm sure that was our wing that flew over us.
So we just
Okay,
have to
2.4 liters of fuel. I've got 2 minutes left in the lead.
Is this the last lap? I don't see the telemetry here, or the timing. It is the last lap. There we are. Crossing the start-finish line right now. And we have won the race with a very disabled car. But
Yeah. All right. 1.4 liters of fuel left.
so the 1.4 is definitely not enough to get around. And we're going to try to see how far we can get here by just short shifting quite a bit and keeping the revolutions or the engine speed very low, just to see if we can make it. It doesn't really matter at this point. We can just hit the skip button and make it to the podium.
Let's just see if we can make it to the see where we run out of fuel here.
But the race is now won, and that was done so by a lot of management. Not just keeping the car in one piece, but staying on the wet tires for the first 2 stints, and making them last that long. I guess that's something that we had an effect on. So we saved a lot of time in the pits, and right now we are probably about 2 minutes ahead of the second place car, and that's how much of a lead we had. However, if I would have come in to fix the rear wing, that may have been, aside from the pit stop time, an additional 30 seconds just to fix. So best choice was to limp around and come through the finish. So I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Don't forget to like and subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and follow us on Facebook and YouTube as well. Thanks again for viewing our presentation, and we'll see you again soon.